today's. So this is the last lecture I'll be talking about. So basically, we already covered scientific misconduct. There are many things have been covered. Already 4 lectures we have taken, and then we talk about the research language part. And in the last part, we talk about philosophy and ethics. Now, ethics part already covered in the scientific conduct component. So this will not be done again. Okay. And I'll start from the component called philosophy. Okay. So that's the part we will last. So hope I'll finish it in 25 minutes, something like that. Okay. So let me go towards end. Okay. So this we already talk about. Okay, here we go. So last part is the section 7. Session 7 that is called Introduction of the Philosophy. This has a 4 components: definition, nature and concept, nature and scope, and concept and importance, and bunches of the philosophy. Okay. So let's start with the definition. What is philosophy? Actually, this is what should be, yeah, that's what the in the course it has given in the initial first part of this RLP 102. And after studying this one, I also find that this should be conveyed in the first actually, because you are enter for the PhD means you are doctor of philosophy. And after listening this lecture, you should be feel proud that why you are doing the PhD. And that definitely it should be proud. You should be proud. We should be proud who have done the doctorate degree, because there are something actually built up in the PhD student. And because of that, only you should be proud of them. So let's understand what is the philosophy in the general term, not related to any research, but in general term, what does it mean, the philosophy term? This is actually taken from the Greek word called phila, which basically means love, and Sophia, that means wisdom. So if you combine these two, then we get the love of wisdom. Love of wisdom. You have a wisdom. Once you have doctorate, you have a plenty of flexibility in you. So that's the love of philosophy, wisdom. If you connect to your degree, the doctor of philosophy. Now, this basically philosophy is the study of general and fundamental problems, those connected with existence, knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language. So these are the various components actually connect by studying the philosophy, right? Also, it is the rational attempt to formulate and understand or answer the fundamental questions. So you are attempting to formulate the problem, understanding the materials, and answering the fundamental question which are unanswered, right? If something that while doing that, you put up a rational way to justify the things, understand the things. So that's called rational attempt. And later on, we'll come to know the irrational and also analytical mind creating in you when you talk about the doctor of philosophy. So here philosophy terms, there are many way we define this term called philosophy. Okay. Now, what are the nature and what are the scope in this philosophy, right? This is basically a set of views, yeah, set of views or beliefs about life and universe. So, set of beliefs, but that beliefs based on the fact, and that fact you try to find out through the research, right? If you until unless you do the research, okay, then you are not finding the true beliefs, right? And that's what the true beliefs and the views comes from those doing the research, and that's what we need the needs to be like a doctorate degree. If somebody having, then they actually have a superpower actually, right? Now it is also the process of reflecting on and criticizing our most deeply held concepts and beliefs. Whatever the conceptions already there, or whatever the beliefs are there, whatever the rules and laws are there, right? So the philosophy actually reflect on the process and criticize them. So you have capability to criticize them, understand them, and then you believe it, right? That's what it's called. Now it is also another way is called, it is a rational attempt. Already we talked about the previous slides. The rational attempt to look at the world as a whole. So as a whole, you try to rationalize the things and then only you accept it, right? In other words, the philosophy is a logical analysis of language. Somebody, if sometimes you'll interact with some people. Some people don't talk logically, actually, illogical word, illogically talk. If you come across many people, so that's why you need to be talkative sometimes. You need to figure out and understand something, or in order to understand the human being or others, right? So somebody will talk abstract. I actually come across one student who teaching in the college, and that student don't have a structured thinking actually. And that easily can be figured out. Okay, if somebody talking to you but not in logical way, then it's very easy to figure out, clarify them. And until unless you also have a attitude or enough knowledge to figure it out, actually, somebody is not talking logical way. Okay, so philosophy also is a logical analysis of language, right? Somebody used by speaking or writing article also, and clarification of the meaning of the words and concepts. You give logical analysis, give the clarification, give the meaning of the words, and what are the concept you are building through research, right? So that's called logical analysis of the language. So you think logically, think critically, right? Another way also, philosophy is a group of persistence problems that interest people, for which philosophers always have sought answer. So, philosopher, if you're a big uh, trying to acquire this degree, eventually your mind is slowly become philosopher, right? And philosopher always try to first instance not to believe what is beliefs. So something already people are believing, you actually first deny that. And after doing critical analysis, then only you accept it, right? So that's the capability of the philosopher. So that's what you are going to acquire through this degree actually. Okay. And that's what in the third part is very important components of this philosophy, which is concept. And that's what I say, the concept and importance. And through these slides actually you'll be understanding the why you should do PhD. Why somebody actually give a importance who are having or acquire the doctoral degree. It is just not a degree. Yeah, we have some purpose to acquire the degree. That is true for somebody. But the real understand a real meaning or the inside joy actually you feel very good, you feel proud of yourself. After being the PhD, you become a man who can analyze things carefully, critically, and you should not believe anybody until unless you research on it or you you critically find something on that. And that's what these are the few points I want to comment on this one regarding this one. The study of philosophy basically enable us to think carefully and clear about important issues. You think carefully and clear about the important issues, right? Because you are the logical thinker of that, and that's what you can do that actually. Also, in study philosophy, what we are get to learn is the step back from our everyday thinking and to explore the deeper, bigger questions that underpins our thought, right? Always, if you're a, sometimes we call no, if you're a good researcher, they actually sometimes become absent-minded, the subconscious mind, right? Because something research is something, and that's what sometimes you call no, the scientists sometimes called mad people. Yeah, they are really mad people. If you're a real researcher, actually, you have to be a mad. You should be different from your surroundings. That is definitely for a good researcher. Those are actually dedicated for the research. Those are doing a real research, not the continuation of somebody's work. Okay, you just pick up your problem. Somebody has done that one. You just extending the work a little bit, moving up the knowledge or the research finding. But if you want to actually real contribution, your innovation, firstly, out of box thinking, you have to be actually good thinker. You have to be subconscious minded actually, because your thinking, your level should be very, very high. IQ level should be very high, so that what you think that will be work eventually, and you prove it actually by doing the research actually, right? And that's why you have to be set back from the everyday thinking. Sometimes we pick up the problems or find the solution, right? For example, let's say during the COVID, there are many scientists are finding the uh, vaccines or other medicine which they which will work, right? Now, different people have a different aspect. The eventually, what they want, three of them uh, get the Nobel Prize because the COVID vaccine, the way it is works actually, reduction it works, right? So because they have done earlier the work, they never thought that future sometime COVID will come and my work will be popularized. No, the problem they solved and patented or published it, that eventually solve the problem of larger society. And that's the critical thinking you should have. You may not have immediate importance of the what you are doing, but eventually it will be useful for the large society, some sort of problem solution. So you right now you don't know. You are doing your research based on what of the research group you are joined, whatever your current interest, and but eventually that will be useful somewhere. So try to do that kind of research. Okay, so that's what is important. The focus of the study of philosophy is to learn not what to believe, but how to think, right? What to believe. So you come by analysis what to believe or not, but then you need to think about it also. Also, how to think. So one thing, what to believe, what not to believe. Along with that, how to think about a problem. And that's why the initial days is very crucial. That's what we suggest to all student. First 1 or 2 years, you just need to spend a lot of time to understand the problem or build up the some of the analytical tools inside you, right? So that how to think a problem, how to stepwise go through the problems, and one by one clarify them, how to do the data analysis. Each and everything has to be critical thinking. So that's sort of what to believe, and but not only that, but also how to think about it, the problem, right? Now, third component is the sharpness. Philosophy sharpens your analytical ability, enable you to identify and evaluate the strength and weakness in any position. That's a very, very important. And that's what here comes to say somebody might be become a judge for some events. Okay. And then when you're judging, then he has to analyze, use the critical thinking, analytical mind to judge it properly. And that kind of attitude actually you will be building through this PhD work. Your critical analysis ability will build up on it. Okay, and that's what you actually do not believe everything unless you work on it a little bit or you study it on it, right? So that's the, so these are the few things actually you also gaining along with your PhD. It is the honest ability to construct and articulate the cognate arguments. Okay, so arguments when you are doing, but you actually build up a constructive arguments, not a destructive, definitely not. So that is not allowed actually. Okay, so the many things actually you are piling up while doing this one. It also promotes you to work across a disciplinary boundaries. This is a very, very important component actually, because once you know how to think and how to proceed, then you no longer actually fixed on something. You might be during PhD working in the one area, but while doing that one, the the analytical thinking and how to proceed, how to crack the problem, and you know the logic flow, logic things, how to write all these things. Okay, so that means you are not bounded to in your area. For example, I am a scientist from a basic science, but I can also able to work in a chemical engineering side. I can also work some problem on the biology. I can have a capability to work on the pharmacy related area as well. So the whatever the direction you can, of course, when if you tell us me the basic science cannot do the health work area, yeah, that is not possible. But the subject wise, if you are a chemist, then you can go to biology, you can go to physics, you can go to eventual chemical engineering, you can go to the civil engineering, some testing work also, right? Pharmacy kind of development, drug development area also. So there is no boundary actually. You know the how to proceed. That means you are a well trained person to think about the problem in any direction. So that's what you have a important. That's what people gives the importance to you. So there is no boundaries. Disciplinary, there is no boundaries, and that's what I say. Philosophy is an activity as much as a body of the knowledge, right? It is also develops you ability to think and work independently. At the end of your PhD degree, you should be an individual person. Until that, you are a associate with somebody trying to learn the things, and then at the eventually, once you have a degree, you should be proud yourself. You become an independent body, right? And that's what when you finish your PhD, go for a postdoc. Postdoc supervisor will not treat you as your PhD supervisor treat you. Until you do your PhD, you are under the shade of supervisor. So everything comes something wrong, then your supervisor will save you. And at the same time, he will tell you what should be done, what should not be done, how to proceed, and what are the things, how to analyze, how to critically write, and all these things. But so once you've done PhD, that's the highest degree. So after that, no more support. You have to work on the little bit resource wise support you'll get from your postdoc supervisor. But eventually, bringing idea, working procedure, everything should be done yourself. Okay, because I know I have done my postdoc, so I exactly know how actually postdoctoral work after your PhD. Okay, now next part is the branches. This is the last part of the philosophy. And this is the very crucial components actually, right? So when you talk about the branches, there are actually four major component of the branches of philosophy. First one is called logic, second one called metaphysics, third one epistemology, and last one called value of theory. The value of theory actually little bit we learn, and later on I'll connect you. It's very important. Logic, which you be systematic, be logical thinker, right? And that's the one of the main components of the philosophy. If you're a philosopher, going to be a philosopher, then without these components, you are not going to be a philosopher. You can have a degree, there is no issue, right? But you may not build up the right concept. So It is the systematic study of the rules for the correct use of this supporting reason. Okay, systematic study. The rules we can use, so the by doing this systematic study and you build up the rules, and that can be used to distinguish good arguments from the bad ones. We are bringing the knowledge or eye to distinguish between good and bad, right? Now, most of the great philosophers, if you think out starting from the Aristotle, first person, to present day, right, have been convinced the logic uh, permits all other branches of philosophy. So the logic permit all other branches of philosophy. So that's the from the very beginning when the philosophy term started. From there itself, you think about so very it is a very convinced that logic permits all branches of philosophy. It is also ability to test the argument for logical consistency, understand the logical consequence of the certain assumption, and distinguish the kind of evidence a philosopher is using are essential for doing philosophy. So you are become going to a doctorate degree, that means you are going to slowly build up the philosopher nature in you. Then you have the essential. These are very essential things. Distinguish. You have to capability build up the capability to distinguish something. Here example, the good and bad, what is right and wrong. So argument, proper way, logical thinking, sequential writing. So these are very important component you are eventually going to build up. Now the second component of this branches is the metaphysics. So what is the metaphysics basically? It basically means the comprehensive thinking about the nature of the things. Comprehensive thinking. That's all the time taking critical thinking. Consciency, comprehensive thinking about the nature of the things. It means usually the study of theory of the reality. Study of theory of the reality. So all the time you do the research to find out the real, what is the real things is going on under certain parameters, experimental condition, given the situation. Okay, if you're a social subject researcher, then you have a thing different way to set the parameter. I'm an experimentalist. I know the experimental parameter has to be set and justify it and find according to the condition change. So that means everything we do, you need to the comprehensive thinking has to be incorporated in the study to find the reality. Now that's what the questions of metaphysics is. What is reality? What is real? Is reality some kind of thing? Okay, or what kind of things is the reality? So you try to find out that by using the philosophy, knowledge of the philosophy, right? The metaphysics also attempts to offer a comprehensive view of all that exists. Comprehensive view. You review the literature, and during that period also you need to apply your, okay, your nature. Comprehensive view means you are try to think critically what they are finding, how they are finding, why it is coming like that, right? And once you pick up the logic, and then while you formulating your problem, then you incorporate that things. That's called critical analysis of the existing knowledge, and then propose your things, right? So it is the concern. It is the concern with such problems as the relation of mind to matter relation. Then true of change and the meaning of freedom. Okay, the meaning of the freedom. So then the true meaning actually you find out, figure out the you get the freedom to think carefully. Once you get this kind of philosophy, can build up the philosophic mind, right? Now next is called um, epistemology. So this is the part of the branches of philosophy. So epistemology actually word comes from the Greek, so it's a the component called episteme. Episteme. which means the knowledge. Okay, if I that means the technical term, in technical term, what we say, the theory of the knowledge is the epistemology, theory of knowledge, right? And that's what we say, you should be a knowledgeable person, right? And then only you can criticize something, and then only your widen, you become a wider, right? So in general, the epistemology is the branch of philosophy that study the source, that study the nature and validity of the knowledge. If you know the proper source, if you're capable to do the nature of the study done, and you can critically actually analyze that. And in that process, you apply a proper knowledge to validate the existing knowledge, right? So that's what they say. Epistemology, the part which actually studies source, nature, and validate the knowledge. So you do first two component and then validate the existing knowledge. So there are three central questions in this field. Actually, there first one is the what are the sources of knowledge? You try to gather your research topic and the related literature, find out, and that is means you are gathering the source of knowledge. It is a books or articles or book chapter or any other things. Okay, dissemination. So find out that. So that's the source of knowledge. You try to figure it out, or it could be a book. And where does genuine knowledge comes from, or how it works actually? So you try to figure it out. And this is the question of the origin. Okay, the origin of the questions. Also, the second question is what is the nature of the knowledge? That also you can find. Nature of the knowledge. Is the real world outside the mind? If so, who know that? Who know it? Right? You put up that kind of question. This is a question of appearance versus reality. What is appearing, what is the reality, right? We call ideal and reality, and ideal gas and real gas, ideal situation and real situation, something like that here. Okay. Also, is your knowledge valid? Is our knowledge is valid? So then how do you distinguish the truth from the error? Okay. True beliefs, that's what we call it. And these questions of the test of truth of verification. Okay, so it is a kind of knowledge you build up, you can do this kind of verification. And last component of this branch of philosophy is the value theory. Now, value theory, what does it mean? It is a part of the philosophy study. Okay, it's basically talk about the subdivided into ethics, aesthetics, and social and political philosophy. So ethics, we already talk about what is wrong and what is right, what should be accepted, what should not be accepted. So that comes and that brings you the reality. What is the reality, right? So within morality and ethics, there are three major area we already called. One called deceptive ethics, and normative ethics, and meta ethics. So these are the three major components. You don't need to go in details, but if you try to find out, you just try to figure out on the net itself what are these three components are there. I have not elaborated in the slides. Okay, so you can find out yourself also. So one is I just find out one is the deceptive ethics means is to identify the more experience descriptively. So you find the moral experience, identify the moral experiences descriptively, more elaborate way you are trying to find it. So basically by doing this one, what you are going to do, we seek to identify within the range of human conduct, motives, desires, and intention, as well as overreacts themselves. So you should be properly knowledgeable so that you can actually become a ideal person to judge something, not only research but also others findings. Okay, or what to believe, what not to believe. So you apply a critical thinking, logical writing. So these are very important components actually you do get to learn through the philosophy. Okay, so with this I just end of this one, and I'll just put up give you some of the questions over there. Okay, so let me